Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the month of May 2022. This is a general reading, so feel free to take with you whatever resonates and leave behind for others whatever does not. To get a deeper view into your month, be sure to check out your readings for Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. I'm going to be starting off with a Celtic cross spread for the tarot reading and close off with an oracle card message. So let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and lay out these cards. Then I will go through the different positions and meanings and clarify the cards that we have. Okay, I will say, Aquarius, it seems like you are going to be going through some stuff this month. In terms of the current situation, you have the Devil card. In terms of what crosses or complements you, you have the King of Coins. In the past, you have the Faith card or the Hierophant. What's above you, you have the Seven of Swords. Below you is the Four of Coins. Your view of the situation, you have the Page of Swords. In your environment, which is the external influences affecting you, you have the Death card. Your hopes and fears, you have the Two of Wands. In your near future, you have the Seven of Wands. The outcome is the Five of Wands. So a lot of potential deception, possibly fear of some sort of someone's opinions, but we'll go through it and I will clarify. But I'm going to just do a brief overview. So with the Devil card, it's a sense of feeling oppressed, possibly negative patterns. It can be addictions, negative thinking. With the King of Coins complementing or crossing the Devil card, it could be to some degree there is someone in your life that is the King of Coins that you feel is kind of keeping you down or putting you in a position of, being enslaved in some way. This could be a parent figure. This could be your boss or your superior at work. It could be, a teacher, something along those lines. Someone that has power, has really life experience, expertise in whatever field they're in and established, so that they, have the reputation to back up whatever they're saying to you or however they're making you feel. Thing with the Devil card is usually you have the power to kind of escape or just step foot out of this cage. It's open. And we usually give the, oppressor the power to do whatever they're doing. And in the what's above you with this Seven of Swords, sometimes that's, liar, stealer, cheater. It also can be imposter syndrome. So if you are, allowing someone to have power over you or thinking that they have power over you. It could be to some degree that you believe that they do. This Seven of Swords is the moon in Aquarius. So it's a lack of clarity, but also a sense of, potential um, imagination running a little bit wild. In the past, with this Faith card, it could be um, like some religious upbringing, some ties to religious organization or institution in general. It could be a school, or you could have worked at a business for, like a organization business that you're kind of invested in, and maybe this King of Coins could be someone in that organization. So what's below you is this Four of Coins, this kind of need or desire to have a sense of stability, to feel that you are kind of in control of your material world. This could be in control in the sense of, your mind, body, spirit, uh, and also like the physical world, paying your rent, paying the bills, kind of building up your finances to be independent, to possibly go to another um, job, to, if this could also be like a significant other, someone who, is more established in the world than you, and perhaps right now you're needing to, or feeling the need to rely on their ability to take care of you, but you're in that process, it's like you're giving up the power. So in your view of the situation, you have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is someone who doesn't really know all of the facts, all the truth. They want to know, but you can see here on these swords here, you can't see the tips, and you can't see, what is it called, the hilt of the swords, like where you hold on to. So you can't see either of them. So in a sense, it's kind of like without all the information, um, really just how do you fill in the gaps? Um, Possibly with, if you have a wild imagination or lack of clarity, you kind of fill in the gaps by relying on what you know, the devil you know, not the devil you don't. In terms of your environment, you have this Death card, and this is about like transformation, loss, um, letting go of things. So this is the influence that's around you, uh, that the external influences that affect you. Usually the Death card doesn't mean a literal death, uh, because it's in your environment. It possibly could be, um, but this primarily could also just be a sense of things are changing and you're not really sure where you kind of fit in with that. Because in your hopes and fears, you have this Two of Wands, which is really kind of getting outside of your comfort zone, um, leaving what you know and experiencing what you don't so that you could reach your potential. So, what's interesting here is these like doorways or archways, portals, whatever, they have a similar shape to this cage here, or this devil's cage here. So perhaps, oh, and then also with this King of Coins, you've got two pillars on either side of the King of Coins. So it's, to some degree, it could be, part of your hopes and fears. You'd have to exit like this cage by going past the King of Coins, um, to, have a different experience. In terms of the near future, you have the Seven of Wands. That is kind of you having to stand your ground. You needing, possibly feeling backed into a corner and needing to stand up for what you believe in. And the outcome you have here is the Five of Wands, which is conflict. It is, better than the Five of Swords, where they're actually, they're trying to injure each other and have injured each other with swords. These are wands, and they could be possibly, this could be you, um, different stages of you, different desires that you have kind of in conflict, not on the same page, possibly on how do you, do you want to get out of the cage? Do you not get out of the cage? How do you get out of the cage? Type of thing. This could be other people. This could be, just a misunderstanding or a disagreement on how you should move forward with your life. Like if this is a parent, it's like, hey, I wasn't holding you in a cage. I just thought you wanted to do this, and I was, helping you do that. And I didn't know you wanted to do this instead. And so it's just, to some degree, it could be minor annoyances and growing pains. But basically, um, it's something that kind of, what's the word? It leads to an understanding, either for yourself or among others, that you don't have goals that are in alignment. So let's go through and clarify these cards here. Let's take a look at the Faith card, or the Hierophant, that's in the past position. You have the Emperor. So these two cards, it seems like there's some tradition. There's some kind of, this could be a family tradition, cultural tradition, some type of structure that your family followed, where things were a certain way. And that's what you have in your past. And so here, in the current situation, you have this Devil card. So it could be you are still in that kind of, this, you're like kind of confined by these certain traditions. That's what it could be. Or it could be that you're trying to break away from those traditions and you haven't really told anybody yet. So let's take a look at this Devil card here. You have the Shadow side, which is another Devil card. Okay. So you know what the situation is. Aquarius, this is your life. You know what it is you're hiding from yourself, from your others. But this seems to be something to do with some way that things have been, that you feel like they have to keep being that way, because nothing else would be accepted. The King of Coins is about tradition as well. They're really kind of stuck in their ways, stubborn, stuff like that. So let's take a look at the King of Coins. You have the Page of Wands. So to some degree, I see it as, you know, you are wanting to express yourself. You want to do things the way you want to do things. You want to be happy about your life, explore who you are, explore your world, and you are really concerned about how this King of Coins is going to view you, um, and their, you know, their rules. So let's take a look at what you have up here, the Seven of Swords. You have the Hanged Man, which is another card about, you know, being confined. But here, the Hanged Man is in control and is voluntarily, you know, placing themselves in this position so that they are kind of forced to see things from a different perspective. So, with this Seven of Swords, for some of you, it seems like there is something that you've not revealed, something that you're hiding. And really, um, the reason why you're hiding it is because of how you think others will take it. Possibly a certain sense of even your ego is involved there. Um, so, really, what's interesting is that the hangman is kind of like uh, getting this new perspective so that they can kind of have a higher level of knowledge, uh, so that they're able to stop struggling and just surrender, not necessarily give up, but stop struggling against what they think is tying them down, and to release whatever it is that's not for their best and highest good, which results in this loss, this death loss. So, for whatever reason, to some degree, I'm thinking of someone who is, let's say, has to do with their sexuality or their sexual orientation, their gender, um, in terms of these pages here. And with this transformation, so it could be that in your environment, there's people who have come out as, you know, not being what they traditionally in their family were expected to be in terms of their sexuality and their gender. Maybe that's part of your environment, but that's kind of that's one level of vibe that I'm getting from this. Um, let's look at this Four of Coins, which has to do with a sense of foundation security of in the material world, which would also go along with making sure you feel secure about who you are as an individual in this world. You have the Six of Wands here. So really you want to be respected by people in your community. You want to have the support of people in your community, but right now you are, the basis of this is you trying to hold on to some aspect of the material aspect. Um, this could be like having a place to live. There's really nothing wrong with wanting to make sure that you can make ends meet. Um, so here, the heart of it, you want to make ends meet. You want to be like secure in case you find yourself needing to fend for yourself. And you want to make sure that if you do, you come out on top. That makes sense. In terms of, you know, your decisions on, um, you know, feeling that you're giving the power to someone else, or almost being caged in by your own secret. You know, I'm not necessarily going to support that, understand it, but I'm not going to say that, that's something to be supported. Because it takes work, it takes effort. So let's look at your Page of Swords, which is your view of the situation. Sense of curiosity, sense of wanting to learn the truth, learn more about what's going on. You have the Three of Wands, which is, not only are you past your comfort zone and you're outside of the building, actually looking at how can you find your truth, how can you grow and expand and be the best you can be. You're gonna almost looking at, you need a network of people. So to some degree, the information you have is based on this tradition, based on your view of being kind of held down and hiding, locking away your truth. So let's take a look at this Death card, your environment. You have the Nine of Wands, which is really kind of worn down, but still willing to fight anyone that comes at them. So again, in your community or your environment, which is the external influences that affect you, you may have seen others go through this process of, leaving. This still fits in with, a concept of hiding the truth about your gender identity, sexual preference. But this also fits in with someone who is, any type of oppression, any type of belief that they are kind of locked away, they're enslaved by someone who's more powerful. This could be like a boss. This could be people that who have changed jobs and they're, worn out, they're tired, and they're still having to fight wherever they are. This could be someone who has revealed their gender identity, their sexual orientation, and they're still feeling that they're being, tested, and they need to keep on guard and defend themselves. This could be someone who has left a relationship where their significant other was kind of controlling, and they find themselves on guard to either prevent that same situation from occurring again, since the Devil is about, it's usually about habits and patterns of things that kind of seduce us to do, take a shortcut, but isn't for our best and highest good. And, they're either trying to prevent themselves getting in that type of relationship again, or they're in that kind of relationship again, and they are really, again, trying, needing to get out of it and defending themselves. So this is kind of the environment around you. So let's look at your hopes and fears with the Two of Wands. You have the Strength card. So your hopes and fears have to do with leaving what you know, leaving the devil you know for the devil you don't know, or staying with the devil you know and not dealing with a devil you don't know. Either way, it takes strength. It takes strength to, keep hiding what you're hiding. It takes strength to reveal whatever you're not revealing. And ultimately, regardless of whatever situation this is, whether it's career, family, significant other, whatever the situation is, at the end of the day, you need to recognize and accept yourself in all aspects of yourself. The strength card, there's gentle parts, there's tender parts, and then there's parts that are fiery and wild and unpredictable. And really, you need to accept. The strength card is about accepting all those and knowing how to maneuver those characteristics to really achieve what is for your best and highest good. And so let's take a look at the Seven of Wands, because that is in your near future. You have the Seven of Wands. So definitely a sense of really you needing to have this strength here to accept who you are and recognize what you believe is worth standing up for. What do you believe is worth standing your ground for? What do you believe is worth advocating for? And this is, a test and assessment of your will, your desires, your passions. So really, you can see what other people are doing, but at the end of the day, this has to do with you. So let's look at the Five of Wands there. So, hold on, real quick. You got a lot of wands here. You're putting a lot of energy. This is like draining you to some degree. This sense of stability in who you are, or trying to decide who to be. And I'm just kind of noticing the cards that are repeating. So the repeating cards are the Devil card and the Seven of Wands. So a test of your will and test and assessment of your ability to have an inner conviction, and a test of your allowing someone or something to have control over who you are and your beliefs and influence of that. But this is something, this devil, this is something that we allow, even if it's an addiction, even if it's a negative thinking pattern, codependent relationships, whatever it is. It's something that we allow because there is some belief that this situation is far less painful and harmful than another option. And it might give momentary relief. It might, for a time being, achieve those goals. So again, it's basically, we all do what will maximize our joy and happiness and minimize our pain and suffering. So to some degree, this situation that you have here, you believed it minimized your pain and suffering and maximized your happiness. And here you really need to make an assessment of whether that's the case and whether to keep moving forward, believing that, advocating for that. So let's look at Five of Wands. You have the Six of Swords. which is a sense of healing, being between two shores, not really knowing what the outcome's going to be, but knowing it's a lot better than where you came from. So, whatever that means for you, that's for you to kind of figure out, because in the near future, you need to, or not that you need to, it's going to happen. You're going to make a decision on where you stand, who you stand for, what you stand for. And the outcome of that is it's going to, not necessarily be easy. It's not necessarily going to be, signs and directions that says happiness and freedom to be whatever you want and whoever you want and get whatever you want this way. This is part of a journey where really this accepting who you are, all aspects of who you are, recognizing when certain characteristics are dominant and some of them are submissive, for when you need those things. When do you need to raise your voice? When do you need to demand something? When do you need to lower your voice? When do you need to, speak in a softer, more timid way, be more gentle? When do you need to use more forceful actions and demands? So that's something that whatever you do, recognizing at least those characteristics that you have, and you can figure out how you want to use them at a later point, but definitely recognizing them at very least is helpful. So I'm going to close this off with an oracle card to see which animal totem is going to guide you in the month of May. You have White Stag, Protector. You are an old soul. Your best friend is nature. Use your intuition to take you where you want to go. Awaken to the powerful force within you. You are meant to create blessings with your magic. So here, it's really about this person is a protector, or this card is about letting you know that you are protected. You have a desire to protect others and yourself, and that if you connect with who you are, be aware of what's in your environment, what tools and resources are available for you, then you can recognize what you need to do or want to do to take that next step and really create the world you want to live in your path forward in that world. So I'm hoping this reading provides a helpful perspective of your month, and I'll see you next time. Take care.